Hey there folks, my name's Peter Menzies. I'm an environmental educator with Asheville Greenworks. This is my co-host whose name is also Peter. And welcome to an episode of Tree Time with the Peters. Today we're going to be talking about tree identification. Wait, what are we talking about? Tree identification. What is it? Don't do that. So what is tree identification? Tree identification is looking at a tree and observing various characteristics about it and trying to determine what species it is. Let's name some of these characteristics. Bark, leaves, fruits. Don't forget the flowers. We're also going to be talking about something called branching pattern or branching structure. You mind if I eat a snack while we're recording? It's fine with me. Awesome, dude. Is that a block of cheese? No. Oh, weirdo. Let's spend a little time talking about those components that I just named. Bark. This is on the ground. I did not rip it off the tree. When we're observing bark, we're looking for color, texture, and any patterns. Why do trees have bark? To protect the tree. Exactly. It's kind of like our skin. When we observe leaves, we're looking at the overall shape of the leaf. Maybe it looks like this. Maybe it has these parts that stick out called lobes. We're also looking at the edge of the leaf, and we want to feel the leaf. Is it fuzzy? Is it smooth? Leaves can tell us a lot. What do leaves do?
They look cool.
They do look cool. They also perform photosynthesis. Many trees produce fruits. So fruits are not just the yummy foods that you find in a fruit salad. Fruits are anything that a flowering plant produces that contains its seed or seeds. Spoiler alert, this is a walnut, and it's the fruit of a certain type of walnut tree.
I can't believe you'd spoil that for them.
Many trees produce flowers for reproductive purposes. We can use them to help identify the species. Real quick, let's talk about branching pattern. Branching pattern is the way in which new growth is positioned on a plant. The three patterns we're going to talk about today are alternate, opposite, and whorled. On an alternately branched plant, new growth is positioned on the main stem in an alternating fashion. An oppositely branched plant has new growth positioned opposite one another. In the case of a whorled branching pattern, 3 or more new stems are positioned at the same point on the main stem. All right, I know that was a lot of information, but I think we're finally ready to start identifying some trees. Finally! I think it only makes sense to kick things off with this beautiful tree I've been standing in front of. Let's figure out what it is. When we take a closer look at the bark,
Wow.
what do we notice? First, let's look at the color. Dark grayish, kind of brown, some splotches of light gray. Let's look for any patterns. So we have these sort of indentations here. Those are known as furrows. That's something to note. And then these raised portions, known as ridges. And these ridges are kind of flattened, and it's kind of scaly. When we turn our attention to the top of the tree, or the crown, we find a lot more clues. The first thing that I notice is that the leaves on this tree are in fact needles.
Are you serious?
So that narrows down our possibilities quite a bit. We're also able to spot the branching pattern from here. Can you tell what it is? Pete, can you give us a refresher on those branching patterns? Oh, I got this. Alternate, opposite, whorled. Is any of that related to branching patterns? Nope. Let's look back at our mystery tree. Because there are many smaller branches positioned at the same point on the main stem, this tree is whorled. Yes! All right, some of you may already have a good inkling of what this tree is, but we're gonna look at a few more clues just to make sure. So an important thing about being a naturalist or someone who identifies natural things is not just looking at the tree itself, but looking around for other clues. So trees drop things. They drop fruit, they drop leaves, they drop twigs. So let's look on the ground and see what we can find. After a quick look around, I found a pine cone and a branch with needles on it that I'm pretty sure came from that tree. I found a spoon. So the fact that we found a pine cone makes me think that we're looking at a pine tree. You see, pine branches have little bundles of needles, and these bundles are called fascicles. So you can find a particular bundle, and let's see how many needles it has. So it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we have all the clues we need. If you're watching this and know the answer, go ahead and shout it out. What do you got for us, Pete?
It's definitely a tree.
And the actual answer is Eastern white pine. Eastern white pine, Latin name Pinus strobus. It's a member of the pine family. And fun fact, in colonial times, it was the predominant tree used to build ship masts because of its strength and flexibility. Right here, we got our next mystery tree.
Oh my God.
First thing that I notice is a particular shape throughout the bark. What shapes do you see? Now, you may have to use your imagination a little bit, but I see diamonds in this bark. When we look up, we can see that it's starting to leaf out, but it hasn't finished doing so yet. So it could be difficult to identify based on the leaves. But what we can tell is that it's alternately branched. So the clues we have so far are diamond shapes in the bark and alternate branching structure. I think we're gonna need some more clues. Let's take a look on the ground. I found a bunch of these on the ground. Same. So these are walnuts. I think we have enough information to make our guess now. What do you think, Pete? I'm gonna go with black walnut. That's exactly what I was thinking, Pete. So this mystery tree here is a black walnut. The Latin name is Juglans nigra. Get it? Juglans. It's a member of the walnut family, or the Juglandaceae. Its wood is highly prized for its beautiful dark brown color, and the walnuts are edible. So we found another tree to identify. It's a little one, but it is in fact a young tree. Let's figure out what it is. First thing that I noticed is that this tree has spines. That's a big hint. This tree actually has leaves at eye level, so that's gonna help us out a lot. Let's take a look at them. The interesting thing is that this whole structure is actually a single leaf, and these smaller components are called leaflets. What kind of leaf is this? Compound leaf. Yep. The fact that this tree has compound leaves helps us narrow down our choices a lot. We can also look at the shape of the leaflets. So these are rounded and somewhat oblong, and we can also count the number of leaflets. This has 13. There's no flowers on the tree, and I couldn't find any of last year's fruits on the ground. I found a fruit. So we know this tree has spines, and it has compound leaves with many rounded leaflets and alternate branching pattern. I think I know what it is. What about you, Pete? I'm gonna go with black locust. That's what I'm thinking too. So guys, this is a black locust. The Latin name is Robinia pseudoacacia. It's a member of the pea family, or the Fabaceae family. It's a nitrogen fixer, and it also produces really strong rot-resistant wood. So for ages, they've been used to build fence posts. So our next tree is What? Is that the bag monster? No way, man. Bag monster's not real. It's just an urban legend. No, yeah, you're right. I'm being crazy. I'm just... Whew. Okay, so our next tree is right over here. You can see it with these beautiful magenta flowers. It's also a young tree like the black locust that we were looking at. Let's take a closer look. This tree is already leafed out, and as you can see, it has distinctly heart-shaped leaves. That's beautiful. So the twig has a zigzag shape to it, and it's also alternately branched. Let's not forget these beautiful pink flowers that we saw earlier. So the clues that we have are heart-shaped leaves, a zigzag twig that's alternately branched, and pinkish magenta flowers. I think I know what it is. What do you think, Pete?
It's a redbud.
What are you doing over there?
Social distancing.
Dude, we are literally the same person.
Oh yeah.
He's right. It's an eastern redbud. The Latin name is Cercis canadensis. Like our black locust, it's also a member of the pea family. It's a really common tree around here, and its flowers are an important nectar and pollen source for early spring pollinators. That's all we got for today, folks. If you want to learn more about identifying trees in our area, check out the Asheville Greenworks Tree Discovery Guide available on our website. Thanks for tuning in. You think this came from a spoon tree?